Okay, well this is really awkward because apparently the volume or the audio setting on my camera was not working. So I am having to do a voiceover as opposed to re-recording the whole thing. My entry into the Sew Frugal 23 contest was the knife pleat dress by fabricstore.com. It's a website that sells mostly linens, if not all linens. This dress is pattern is free, of course, to meet the requirement of the challenge. What I am wearing is my second wearable version. It's made from a poplin. I got this fabric from a thrift store, and it worked out fine. The first version I made was a mock-up, and that was really helpful because if you decide to make it, and I think it's a great pattern, you probably want to size down. So the mock-up I made helped me to decide my size, and I realized that it was way too big. It took me a while to figure that out. And then when I sized down and got my waist measurements where they needed to be, that was truly the key. The first wearable version I made was made out of a pinkish, muted, distressed pink looking rayon that was probably meant to be dry cleaned, but I don't dry clean really anything except for, you know, a wool coat or something, and I have not worn a wool coat in many years. So I really do recommend this pattern. It takes some work because the pleat markings are not on the pattern pieces, so you have to create those markings yourself, and that is described in the instructions. And just pay attention to that. That's really important. And when it says it's a 1/2 inch pleat, that means you need to separate your markings by 1 inch and then fold one mark to the other mark. It also talks about making your pleat from the center of the bodice, for example, and remember, at least this is how I did it, the center of the bodice is not going to be the edge of the fabric pattern piece. It's going to be, there's a self-facing there. So I took it to mean from the point of the facing being folded over, that being the middle, and that worked out well for me. So once I had the waist correct, the rest of the pattern really fell into place. Let's see, the buttons. I think there are 11 buttons, and I had a hard time finding 11 buttons that matched. On this dress that I'm wearing in the video, the 2 buttons that I put at the waistline are not the same. They're a little bit smaller, they're the same color, a little bit smaller, and I thought that that would not be very noticeable, and that would help to hold the waist together. They're actually spaced closer together than the other buttons. I lowered the neckline on this dress that I'm wearing. If I make this again, and I probably will, I will lower that neckline again, and I'll find a pattern piece that I like the neckline. What I just held up was the mock-up version, and that's the version that let me know that it was too big for me. The sleeves are wonderful. I tried putting them, I put them in on the round, I put one in on the round in that mock-up version, and I thought there had to be an easier way, and so I tried putting it in on the pink version, on the flat, and that was not better. So for this version I'm wearing, the blue version, I did go back to putting it in on the round, and even doing that, it's not that easy because these pattern pieces are, every one of them is angular, except for the bodice that has, you know, the rounded area around the neck, but everything else is very angled, so you're fitting something round into something that's angled. So I would just caution you about that. Just be careful with the sleeve. The bottom of the sleeve hem is supposed to be gathered and then a strip of fabric put around that. I just folded it over and put elastic in there to make it easier, though I don't think it would be difficult to do it the way that they described. And I can't really think of too much more to say about this pattern. The drapier the fabric, the better. I think that fabricstore.com promotes a linen to be used, and I think a linen would be fine, but the stiffer the fabric, the less drapey, I don't think it's going to look as well. So I'm going to insert some pictures of what I entered into the Sew Frugal 23 contest, which I did not win, and just show you how well this dress turned out. My daughter took the picture, so I'm probably going to cut this video shorter than it was, because it looks like I had a lot more to say in this video. But that's really everything I can think of. I did lengthen the skirt by an inch, and I would continue to do that. It's rare that I make a dress that has an actual waistline. I did cut the bodice off by an inch as well, because the pictures on fabricstore.com show that it is slightly dropped, a slightly dropped waist. I don't look good in dropped waist, so I did go up, and I do think it was an inch. It might have been a little bit more, but I like that look a whole lot better. So I'm going to stop, and I'm going to insert pictures from the dress that I like the best in here, so you can take a look and test this pattern out for yourself. Be patient with the pleats. Once you get the fit, you can mark the pleat spots on your pattern and make it again and again. All right, thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.